Hey everybody, welcome to DadsDen of Pop Culture and Justice League Monday. We are, like I've said, for the last few, we're winding down to the end here. We have Justice League America number 46 from January of 1991, and Justice League Europe number 22, also from January of 1991. Story here is by Giffen and DeMatteis, art by Medley and Beatty. Here it is, there it is, Giffen, Jones, Rogers, and Martian, Rogers and Austin. On the cover, now notice that cover, buy this comic or we won't shoot this cat. That is a takeoff on an old National Lampoon's cover where they were threatening a dog. And here we have Guy Gardner reading an old comic book, General Glory number 1 from October, 10 cents. Okay, so let's dive into these. Justice League America, number 46, is the beginning, part 1 of 5, of Glory Bound, a whole series of stories involving this character, General Glory. So let us jump right in, and we begin at a rest home, the Golden Age rest home in, Pine Bush, Pennsylvania. An old man enjoying his golden years. Looking at that picture, he has probably his best girl from back in the day. And a knock on the door. See, it says knock, knock. That's how I know he's knocking the door. Well, the lady who sort of, I guess, is in charge of the place answers the door, and it's this guy with a German accent who's kind of trying to hide it a little bit, and he's looking for a guy. My dear friend's name has been burning bright in my mind for many, many years. Jones. Joseph Jones. Joe? Well, I don't think he's had a visitor in all the months he's been here. Come on in, Mr. Smith. But don't tell him. I want this to be a big surprise. Well, I don't know. When you're a old, German guy surprising a guy named Joe Jones. Could it be sinister? Well, of course it is, in fact, sinister. When Joe gets there, he is greeted with some giant kind of ray gun that this guy has. He launches the thing, puts some holes in the wall. That does it. That does it. You could have hurt somebody that time, you nitwit. Now get up so I can knock you into next week. But the guy escapes in a car. Okay, so what is going on here? What is going on here? Well, at that, Joe Jones lets the lady running things that he's got to get moving because the crazy guy, has found him yet again. And he doesn't want anybody to get hurt on his account. And we do see, let's see. No, he didn't say it yet. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. I kind of read through these before I do it so I can not screw it up completely. At any rate, so as he's leaving, he says, he goes, yeah, you won't remember me probably, but I won't forget you. You've been a real peach. A real peach. He's obviously sad that he has to leave. And he says here, this is the thing I was looking for. If only I could remember the words. Well, we get our story title here, Old Glory, and we find that Maxwell Lord is heading off to Russia. He wants to have a talk with the new bureau chief, look at the renovations being done, because, of course, we saw in Justice League Europe that the Moscow embassy got pretty well destroyed by the extremists, and he mentions that the new chief's a very personable young woman named Sonia Libatov. Is she the renovation you want to look over? Look at the time I've got to run. Don't want to miss my plane. So off he goes. And we're going to get a little bit of the typical Justice League nonsense, including Guy Gardner. And some of this is framed in Elron, the robot, trying to get to know people and figure out Earth culture. He's watching essentially Entertainment Tonight is what it would be. And he sees there's going to be this big auction of old comic books. And one of them is the very rare General Glory number 1. Okay. So he's got to have it. I gotta have it. This is Guy Gardner's favorite superhero of all time. Now you got to think those comic stories had to extend quite a bit, because otherwise, why would he know about a comic from the 40s? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Well, meantime, Joe Jones is kind of wandering around, and he sees the same thing on a TV in a window. I don't even know that they do that anymore, but it works here. The words. He needs the words. What are the words? We're going to find out what the words are. And also, our crazy German scientist, he also hears about this auction. Notice this little box as he's putting this new ray thing together. It says Kirby bits. You got to have some little Kirby bits on the stuff that you do. And so he's finally going to have his revenge, because he knows that Joe Jones will be there. So, comic convention, Worthby's auction, Guy Gardner shows up. He's not in costume. And of course, though, he's going to be as obnoxious as he can be. He wants to get in, doesn't want to have to pay. Give me a guest badge, I don't care if you're Superman, just get in line like the rest of us. Watch yourself, geek. Who are you calling a geek? You, geek. As he grabs him with his power ring and puts him at the back of the line. And I kind of like this. They realize who he is. They give him the guest pass. Holy, that's Guy Gardner. And he used his power ring on me. Wow. That's the same maneuver he used on Black Hand in Justice League number 28. Will you sign my autograph book? Sure, but wait a minute. That can't be Guy Gardner, huh? Why not? He's not on the guest list. Okay, well, it is Guy Gardner. He's there. He goes wandering around, looking at all the people in their costumes and everything, kind of making fun of them at first, but then he realizes that he's a comic book fan too, and these might just be the best people in the world. And a little boy approaches him. Mr. Gardner, sir? Yeah, yes, son. Could you sign my book, sir? No problem, buckaroo. It'd be a pleasure. Yeah, it's the issue where he's getting beat up by Lobo. He rips up the thing and walks away. That's what I get for being sentimental. Well, they get in to the auction. The first thing up for auction is not, in fact, General Glory number 1, but Guy Gardner lets him know, oh yeah, it's the first thing. You better make it the first thing. You get that little, very subtle threat to the auctioneer with the image of a tombstone with the power ring. So it goes up first, and Guy Gardner bids $10. Any objections? Now, this is a book that should be going for about $10,000. Nah, I didn't think so. So nobody wants to bid on this thing. The guy's kind of like, oh, going. It appears we've got a sale at the interesting price of $15. What did you say? I said $15? Grr. So it's that old man. It's Joe Jones. He's trying to buy the thing too. They bid back and forth and back and forth. And eventually Guy gets it for $5,000, which, by the way, he taps into Justice League funds in order to do that. And at this point, our little German scientist shows up. Say your prayers, old friend. I don't want to turn around. I have to turn around, but I don't want to turn around. Well, he turns around, and boom, for the great glory of the fatherland. Bad move, pal. You could have done some serious damage. It broke again? You could have messed up my comic book. So Guy Gardner goes after the dude, who manages to hide in this crowd, because there's also a veterans reunion banquet there, so a lot of old guys wandering around. Well, Guy finally gets home, decides to read his comic book, and Joe Jones shows up. You snookered me out of $5,000, and you got the nerve to show up here? What do you want now, blood? I just want to look at the book. He just wants to look at the book. It's not so bad. Well, of course, Guy Gardner is a jerk about it, but finally he basically says, look, I'll give you $5,000 if you let me look at the book. Well, he can't say no to that. And so pulls him in, He's looking at the book, and he finally sees in that panel the words, Lady of Liberty, hear my plea for the land of the brave and the home of the free, Skadoom. Joe Jones turns into General Glory. Next, General Glory fights again. So basically what we have here is a comic book character come to life. Well, obviously he was a real superhero, or else none of that stuff would work. But why have we never heard of this guy in DC comics before? Well, mostly because he's sort of a parody of Captain America. But kind of a loving parody. I will give them that much. So we're going to find out over the next 4 issues of Justice League America what is going on with General Glory. Meanwhile, we got sort of an in-betweener issue for Justice League Europe. And we'll kind of roll through this one pretty quick. But essentially, Kara, Power Girl, is angry because her cat, that weird-looking cat, has disappeared. Cannot be found. I fed him, and then he goes away, and it sucks, and blah, 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 blah. She's got a bit of a temper. Little boy shows up with an outrageous English accent, because remember, they're in London now, with a note letting him know the cat has been kidnapped. Holy moly. And who did it? Well, it's these 2 guys. Again, also kind of outrageous English accents. They're going to hold this cat for ransom because, well, the blonde guy needs money. But they're going to find out they maybe have more on their hands than they can handle, as the cat has gotten in and completely destroyed this guy's room. And when he says, I'm going to teach this little chap some manners is all. And the cat basically attacks him and rips him up pretty darn good. Well, Catherine and Captain Atom have this note. We got your cat. We want your money. We mean business. And initially, they're going, well, we got to tell Kara about this. We've got to tell her. I don't want to tell her. Well, Cap's going to go tell her. And maybe he's going to have Metamorpho go with him because she's going to be very unpleasant. But it's a little too late because the boy has taken some money from the press to tell them his story. And she hears about it on TV. And that's it. Kidnappers, catnappers. They'll burn for this. They'll hang for this. You all knew, didn't you? Didn't you? Kara, that's enough. Enough of what? Enough secrecy, enough deceit, Kara, enough inactivity, enough smirking insensitivity from everybody in this room. My cat is in trouble, and you're going to do something about it. So she wants to go all out and catch these guys, and if she has to tear down London to do it, she's willing to do so, because for some weird reason she loves that cat. Well, here we see the results of his fight with the cat. Well, what ultimately happens here is information gets out to this guy, whose name is Mr. Biggers? Mr. Bigger. Mr. Bigger finds out what Mr. Bigger runs is a massive computer data center on the world's superheroes. And there it is. And so supervillains, for a price, can call in, get information on these various heroes. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Where have they last been cited? All that kind of good stuff, so that they could pull off their crimes a little bit easier. These are the guys who were going after that notebook that Wally Tortellini had. These are those bad guys. So all eventually is revealed within the pages of Justice League. And they want this cat. He thinks he can do quite a bit with this cat. So he's going to send his guys off to get it. I kind of like Kara wearing the Superman t-shirt there. Here's a little bit where they call Batman because he's the world's greatest detective. And he's like, well, yeah, if one of our members has been kidnapped, obviously I'll get involved. He goes, well, exactly a kind of a member. Well, yeah. Do you remember Snapper Carr, the old Justice League mascot? This is sort of our new Snapper Carr. Only it's not quite as human as Snapper Carr. You see, there was this cat that, hey, get back here. It's like, give me a break. So Batman's not going to help. These guys are terrified of this cat. Ultimately, before the cat can destroy them, the Biggers men are going to get involved. And there we go. Hit it with some darts. Basically, they give these guys actually a little more of the ransom that they wanted, and they take the cat with them back to where they were at. What do they want with this cat? Well, what they ultimately do is they implant it with sort of some kind of organic system that will allow them to see through the cat's eyes. Now they can spy on Justice League Europe and learn even more secrets that they can sell off to the bad guys, or to their fellow bad guys, maybe I should say. Well, the League shows up to make, to give the money, to give the ransom, to get the cat back. And ultimately, kidnappers don't show up. Well, that's because they don't have the cat anymore. They already have the money. So they they do that operation. They bring the cat back to these guys and say, give it back to the Justice League. And you better do it before he wakes up, if you're smart. And sure enough, one day here, or that night, I should say, knock on the door. Kara answers, yeah, what do you? And we hear this little cack. And that would be her cat has been returned. And so we have them kind of talking a little bit about this. Any progress yet? Perfect broadcast and reception, sir. It's as if we are the cat's eyes. But I'm afraid we'll have to be patient with this one, sir. You see, what interests a cat may not be precisely what interests our clients. Here, sir, see for yourself. How can a creature drink out of a toilet like that? It's beyond me, sir. It's beyond me. Next, Crimson Fox, the inside story. So kind of a funny one there, but it is setting up this league of bad guys, this organization that's spying on superheroes. It was initially set up in Justice League America with the Wally Tortellini story. So there's like a broader thing going on here. And then we got General Glory showing up in Justice League America. And they're going to do, like I said, 5 issues with General Glory. I believe he sticks around after that as well. Will we be there, though? Yeah, we'll get just past Glory Bound. We'll get just past Glory Bound by the end of the year. So that'll do it for this one. Justice League America, number 46. Justice League Europe, number 22, introducing a new character. Furthering information about some new villains that they're going to have to deal with. And they're going to be doing that with a couple things here in Justice League Europe, setting up future storylines. Always important to do. And it's a good way to do it, too. You do sort of a in-between issue. It's kind of funny, it's just a little simple adventure. But then if you could forward some things that are going to be bigger later, then it's not just sort of a one-shot, goofy little comic. It's got something more to it. And that's what they did here. Let me know in the comments what you think of these fine issues of the Justice League America and Europe. Love to hear from you in the comments. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like, subscribe, share with a friend. But until next time, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. And I will see you, hopefully again soon, in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.